presenting in topic of online library borrowing systems, and my topic is system design documentation. I'm showing this slide. And system design documentation. This documentation explains the application architectures, comments, data flow, and technological stack. The goal is to give a clear picture of how the system functions and how its many components interact with one another. User requirements are: the system should make the user input valid or user ID. The system compares the user ID type with database file stored. In case of incorrect user ID, the system will prompt the users to enter again. ID has been validated, and system should the user insert a password. The system checks the password type. Incorrect password, the system asks the users to retype the password. After logging, the system allows the users to source books with book name or the book ID. In the case of book is not located, the system will give an error message and will rewrite the book. In the case of book is the stock, the system allows the users to reserve the book and borrow books to maximums of 5 books. The borrowing limit is attained, the system displays a warning message. The system will affirm that the book has been booked out in the next 24 hours. System leaves the choice of returning the catalog source page or logging out. Second is analyze phase. In a Python, application that consists of a console and is responsible in the user authentication, book source, and reservation. We have shown the input, processes, and output. Inputs are user ID, user password, book ID or book name, selection by user yes or no, and menu choice. Process: validate login credentials, extraction of book records in the database, check book availability, check the number of books that the user has borrowed, modify reservation and ability status. Outputs are success or failure message of the login, book information display, rejection or confusion message of reservations, confirmation message upon logging out. Assumption are: book's ability is updated once a reservation is done. User ID has a unique user ID. The content of both the user and the book is contained in the text-based database files. The systems operates using a command line interface. Thank you. Now I like to ask Puspa to continue the slide. Thank you.
My name is Puspa Pandey and my MIT ID is MIT254334. Now I'd like to share my screen. So my part of presentation is design phase. Design phase defines the step-by-step logical flow of the online library borrowing system. It explains how the system will work before coding starts. Structure, algorithm, and pseudocode are used in the systems designed to make it clear how user identification, book sourcing, and reservation procedure are completed. This ensures that all the user requirements are fulfilled systematically and effectively before moving to the implementation phase. In this design phase, we use algorithm and pseudocode to clearly define login validation, book sorting, and reservation logic before implementation. User authentication design. The system first loads user data from the database file. It requires that the user provide their password and the user ID. This system validates the ID password using a loop until correct details are entered. Only valid users are allowed to log in. Book sourcing and display design. After login, the user can search for a book using book ID or book name. The input is compared to the book database by the system. If the book is located, it shows information about it, including its ID, name, edition, and availability. If not found, an error message is shown. Book reservation logic. If the book is available, the system asks whether the user wants to reserve it. The system checks the maximum borrowing limit of 5 books. If the limit is exceeded, the book is reserved for 24 hours. User records and book availability are updated by the system. Then, system flow completion. After each action, the user can continue sourcing or log out. The design ensures smooth control flow and clear user choice. The design acts as a blueprint for the implementation phase. Now, for the presentation, I would like to call Sadiksha.
Thank you so much, Puspa. Hi, this is Adiksha with an MIT ID of 251645. So after we have met the design, my part is the implementation phase. So in the implementation, first of all, I'll share my screen. So the reason of doing the implementation in this phase for the online library borrowing system using the object-oriented programming OOPP concept in Python. So over here, I'll just share my screen, just give me a time. Okay, all good. Okay, so this is the report of the implementation phase. So in this implementation phase, the major part of the implementation is used to implement the online library system. So the system stipulates in a real-world library borrowing system by utilizing a different methods such as classes, methods, file handling, loops, and conditional statements. And in this, before starting the implementation phase, we have also created the DB text where we have input various of the conditions. And for the classes and object, we have created 3 different classes. So number 1 is a user class. So a library user is represented by the user classes. So the information required to a particular user is stored in each object of this type. So if you're talking about the attributes and objects, their user ID is the object of the user class. Similarly, the init is the constructor in our Python. Now the second class we have created is the book class. So a book that is listed in the library catalog is represented by book class. And we have also object in this, which is book ID, which helps to identify the book, and it is unique. Now the other class we have created is a library system class. So this program's general flow is managed by the library system class, and it handles the reserved logic, book, sourcing, user authentication, creation, and the management of the users and the books object. So this is the class library system. And over here, during the Python running, we have used the various methods. The very first thing was we have loaded the data set sample.txt file, and then after login, which helped us to validate the user ID and the password. Then after we have searched the book and we have executed the Python. So this is the complete Python. I'll also show the video recording for the Python. And after the Python has been executed and the complete code has been executed, we can get the sample input and the output. So over here, I have created 2 different outputs. These are sample output for the valid login. So after execution of the code, it has asked us the user ID, where we have added MIT341443, and then he asks the program, he asks us to enter the password, and we have entered the MIT45. And after we have input all the codes, we have got the sample output, that is, we got logged in. So that is the output of whatever code we have input. So the other part is for the book search reservation. So over here we have after the executing of the code, it asks us to keep the name of the book ID, and then and we have kept the B01 as a book ID, and it also asks us if we want to reserve it or not. So for the moment, we have clicked yes, and the sample output is it has given the whole new information of the book, and also asked us that the book has been reserved for 24 hours. So this has been implementation. So using class, objects, and the method, the system effectively implements the concept of the object-oriented programming. So I have also recorded the screen record of the implementation phase. Okay. So this is the video of the HTML which I have created. So this is the main code where every 3 classes are defined, and after that, data has been read from the sample.txt, and the other method login. Then after the book has been searched, and the main programming. And this is where we run the entire program without any syntax errors. So I have also run few of the things, and I have done and utilized every statement. In this statement, I have entered the wrong code. And then after I have entered the right code, which lends me to the user to enter the user password. Then again, I have entered the wrong password. And then after I enter the right password, which logged me in the system. Then again, I tried to see whether the book CO1 is there or not. Then I enter the BO1, and we can find there isn't book. Then after I have reserved the item for now, yes. Then again, instead of logging out, I went back to the catalog with an option 1 to find the other book, and I said I do not want to reserve it. So since BO1 has been already reserved, so it has given us the code output that the book is currently unavailable. So I've created, I have type BO2, and it said that we want to reserve or not. And then after I have reserved the book and click the option 2, where I got completely logged out from the system. So this is the implementation phase. So after the implementation phase, Sandhya, over to you for the testing.
Thank you, Sadiqa. Hello everyone, I am Sandra Dekota with MIT ID MIT252838. Today I will be discussing the testing phase of online library borrowing system. But before that, I would like to display the main Python code which led us to execute this online library borrowing system. Let me share the screen first. Is it visible now? I would like to request Simran to explain the first 3 steps.
Simran, you're in a mute.
Step 1 is the creating database file. First, a DB text file is created to store all user and book information. The data is clearly organized into separate user and the books sections, allowing the systems to record and process of efficiently. This one is step 1. And step 2 is the loading data from DB text. The system reads the DB text file, separate users and book data, and stores them in two lists. We can show in the slide. Yeah. And step 3 is the verifying user ID. The system checks whether the entire user ID exists in the database and prompts again if it is incorrect. For further, I like to call the Puspa.
And for the part 3, it's validating password. The user ID and the password are entered in the system. It checks these details against stored user credentials. The system allows access if the password match. An error message appear if it doesn't match. This system ensures only authorized user can log in. In the 5th stage, searching for a book. The user enter a book ID or book name to search. The system scans the book list for matching record. It compares user input with available book titles. The book information are retrieved if a match is found. If not, the system notifies the user. And the 6th step is displaying book information. Book details including title, author, and availability are shown by the system. It shows the availability and the reserve status of the book. This helps user decide whether they borrow the book. The output is shown clearly on the screen. This improves user understanding and usability of the system. Now for the explanation, I would like to call Sadiksha.
Okay, so for the step 7, it's a reservation of the book. So for the reservation of book, it is majorly for the book borrower limit and the availability. So we have defined the functions that handles the book reservation process for the given user and the book. After the definition of the functions, it tracks and converts the number of the books that has been already borrowed or which is available in the system. Check whether the book has available copies, check whether if the user has already reached the maximum borrowing limit, and check if the user has already reached the maximum borrowing limit, and display the warning message and the stop the reservation if the borrower limit is exceeded. So after that, it updates the user borrowed book count and reduces the available copies of the book, displays a confirmation message after the successful reservation. So step 8 is the catalog menu loop. So it defines the catalog functions that controls the book searching and user navigation. Then after, it creates the loop so that the user can repeatedly search for the books until they choose to log out. Allows the user to search the book by the name or ID. Checks whether the inter book exists in a database. Displays the selected book's details. Check whether the book is available. Ask the user if they want to reserve the available book. Display menu option for the navigation, and the log the user out and adjust the loop. So this is the step 7 and 8. So for the 9, I would like to call up for the Sandhya.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yep.
Hello. Okay. Now I will be discussing the main code here. First, we define the main function where the program execution starts. We load the user book data from the db.txt. We prompt the user to enter a valid user ID and valid user password, and check the user's password to complete the login process. We direct the user to the catalog system and reserving books, and then it starts the main program execution. Now, I would like to show all the testing phases done, all the 10 testing cases. The first testing case is a wrong user ID. First of all, we save all the user details and book details in a sample db.txt. Here are the user details and here are the book details. When we entered a wrong user ID, the system correctly detected the error and displayed the user ID is wrong and prompted the user to enter the ID again. Now, the second time I entered the right one and it proceeded me to the user password. But the second test case is invalid password. Here, although the user ID was right, the password entered was incorrect. So as a result, the system successfully detected the error and displayed an error message. The user password is wrong and prompted the user to re-enter the user password. The third case is a valid login successful case. Here, we entered both the user ID and user password, valid one, and the login was successful. The fourth case is a book ID not found. Although we have the valid book ID in db.txt, we entered a different one. We entered B11, but the system couldn't find it. The system checked and displayed an error message that it cannot find the book name and prompted the user to re-enter the book ID again. Now, another case is book found. Here, we entered the right book ID and it's displayed all the details of the book, including its book name, its edition, status, and also asked the user to reserve this item. The next case is of successful reservation. After entering the valid details of book, the system asked us to reserve the item, reserve the book, and gave us two options, yes and no. When I typed yes, the book was successfully reserved for 24 hours. It will be available to other users if it hasn't been picked up within 24 hours. After that, we run the test case of using the catalog. Here, the test has been confirmed to catalog navigation. After completing book reservation, we selected an option to go back to the catalog page. As a result, the system redirected the user. We type 1 and it redirected the user to enter the book ID again. The next case is of unavailability of book. In this test, we check how the system handles unavailable books. When a book with 0 availability was entered, the system detected it and it correctly displayed its status unavailable, and it did not allow any options for the reservations. The next case is a borrow limit reached. In this case, we have to run the program again because we have to enter the valid ID and password of a user whose borrowed limit was already reached. So we type the user ID and the user password. And we enter any book name, let's say B01. Here, although the book is available, the user cannot borrow it. When you select the option S, it displays the message, sorry, you have already reached the maximum number of books that you can borrow. That means the system successfully detected the error and prevented us from borrowing book. The final case is of logout functionality. When we choose an option to log out, the system successfully ended the session and displayed the logout confirmation message. So that is the end of our Python code. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.